Welcome everyone back to another Boldcast reaction. I'm Carson.
I'm Lindsay.
And this is Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2, Episode 9. What happened last time?
Last time Gojo showed up and is getting into a bit of a fight, and everyone else is they're still just like waiting around, right?
Waiting around?
Like they're like a bunch of people were like patrolling around the outside and just like waiting to see.
They're trying to dismantle the barrier.
Oh yeah, I forgot that. Yeah, Yuji and what's her name? Mimi went into the like the train.
Yes, and they fought Locust, Demon, Devil, Curse.
Yeah.
And it's the ultimate boys are trying to seal our friend Gojo. Mm-hmm. And he is clearly overconfident. He's walking directly in the trap, into this trap, knowing it's a trap. They said it was gonna take like 20 minutes for them to like do it or whatever,
yes.
Which is suspiciously the exact length of this episode. Or an episode of any anime really, but very interesting that they say 20 minutes. I think that's going to signal a brawl that's going to happen. Hopefully one that we can see, because that's been an unfortunate trend. I know it's just the television release. I'm sure once we get the Blu-rays, things will be ironed out a lot, but I'm not going to beat that horse to death. Everybody's been freaking out about all the animation trouble and the presentation issues that have been wrought this season. So, you know, there's no point in getting too crazy about that. But one thing that is worth getting crazy about is the fact that we started a One Piece reaction channel. That's right. A new channel dedicated specifically to One Piece content, mostly reactions. We started it today. And right now we're only doing live action. But we will be doing, we've already watched the live action, by the way. It's awesome. We loved it. We loved all of it. We cried. It was crazy. Not everything's out yet, but we are going to be doing the anime very soon on that channel. Yes. So go subscribe to that. That'll be in the pinned comment. Yeah, we hope you enjoy this reaction to Jujutsu. Let's see what happens this time. Oh shit, oh shit. Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. I'm so ready. Okay. Ooh.
先生がいなかったら俺今頃死刑だったみたいよ。そんで一応恩人です。一応これは俺に限った話ではないですが。
そこまで知らないのよね。これだけは言えるわ。
バカ。鮭。
Why is everyone talking like he's gonna fucking die? Oh Jesus. They're setting this up like he's going down. I'm terrified right now. I
didn't like the start of this episode. It freaked me out too much.
Do they not? They see him.
Yeah.
All right, do it right now. I thought that he was doing purple for a second. Ooh, this walking cycle. Wasn't expecting to get touched. The movement.
You gotta just rip his arm off.
Very accurate with the kicking a body fast enough to rip people in half. They must be just moving really fast because like nobody's reacting.
Yeah.
Ooh, this animation. Did you see that animation? Oh, it's looking good this episode. We'll see though when a big effect happens. It's looking nice. Jesus.
Oh my
Whoa!
God.
He's just grabbing them.
Ew.
Ow! Oh!
Oh my God.
looked and sounded brutal as hell.
Oh.
Oh, Chozo? I think that's his name.
Just instantly knows.
Yeah, because I stole it, and he's using the blood technique, so. Wait, did they cut the lights, or did he just do that? Oh, you see Hanami's eyes? Jesus!
He looks so
Is the train just gonna take him out? It must feel so freeing. Oh my god. He doesn't give a fuck. Do it. He's the fucking honored one, enlightened one. Oh my god! Oh! Is that exorcism?
Holy shit.
Is that exorcism? You never know with shit. It looks pretty exercised. Damn! Oh,
Okay, what are
Wait,
these
what-
conditions?
who are they? Who's he talking to?
獄門境開門後封印有効範囲半径約4メートル以内に1分間五条悟をとどめなければならない
1 minute.
4 meters for one. How? What could they use to do that? Blood manipulation. That's probably it. 4 meters. See, this is. What's this game called? It's got the White Lotus. I forget what it's called. There's like a bunch of meaning to the plays that they're making, but I don't know the game well enough.
大丈夫1分と言ってもね
The soundtrack. I'm freaking out right now. He's running?
He's scared.
This is a monster movie.
That doesn't do anything.
Is he gonna? Yeah. Hit and run tactics. Good luck. Yeah, what is he plotting? Some guy's dressed up as Naruto. Do you see
saw
that
that.
jacket? Is that?
呪霊が見えない人たちが僕を避け始めたこのまま人が減り続けスペースができれば風頭を捉えられるさっきみたいに術式を解いて誘うのはなしこっちの狙い近接フルボックスだし距離を取ってクソーズと連携して大技を出されても
Is he just gonna kill everyone? Is he just about to kill everybody?
全員は助けられない
Oh my god.
その代わり
Is he just gonna kill everyone so he could use his domain?
まだまだ
The train's just gonna come barreling in. Why are those people standing on the tracks?
もっとヒリヒリしないと
Is Geto just gonna walk in there just to freak him out, and then that's like the tactic to make him stay there for a minute? It's not even. It's like after he's had this crazy fight, he just walks in there and talks to him, and then he gets so freaked out that he just stays there.
I think that's the only thing. I think that's the only thing that could make him stand still for a minute straight. That's the only. Put her out of her misery, man. Quick. If she's not already dead.
みんな電車に乗って小僧先生
Oh, a bunch of transfigured people.
No, people.
Is fucking Umbrella Man on the train right now? Or is it just Mahito? Oh no. Oh my god. Is it happening is it happening right now? It's carnage in there. It is fucking carnage in there.
It's packed.
All right, Gojo, just purple this whole fucking place. It's over.
Yeah, these people are gonna
It's
die
over.
anyway.
Put them out of their misery, honestly. This is terrible. I wish he just, honestly, with what they're seeing right now, this is a fate worse than just death by Gojo's just obliterating them. He should have just used domain expansion and crushed them. It's fucked up too because I bet he would have done it. It's just...
森ごと焼いていいのか
But he's gonna get captured when he had that way of getting out, and he would have done it. Sorry, what did he just say?
Said Hanami's dead. Mahito is like, oh, Hanami will get mad, blah, blah, blah.
So Hanami is dead. It's not like there's no spiritual, I'm gonna reform in 10,000 years or whatever.
What's she gonna do? Oh my god, what is this? Ooh. Back with the spikes.
Yeah, it was Baraka Blade. What is that?
It's so creepy, like the hands.
He just got rid of his arm? Was he distracting him? He's just trying to get that one attack. Yeah. Yeah. He's just, or unless he's just gonna rip him apart right now. I bet he will. I bet he will, unless fucking Geto shows up right now. He's capable. He's very capable. You don't know Gojo Satoru.
They're like, he's not gonna do it.
Oh.
He's freaking me out this episode. He looks so freaky. Holy shit.
It would just be too much for them to handle. Oh my god! He's not even going for the cursed spirits? He's just going for the... He's just clearing the board. He's just trying to clear the board. He's... So he used his chance to save a few people instead of sacrifice them all?
Yeah.
All of the 1,000. That's why they're all that's why they're all like that. They're all hypnotized by the domain. What? What?
What?
What, for God's sake? Fuck!
Shit.
That's why the eye looked like Jogo. Oh no. Oh no. Oh.
Yeah, see,
Wait! Shh! He's stunned. No! Oh.
God damn it.
There's no fucking way. Get her umbrellas out. Does he mean...
必勝
No fucking way.
Ah!
I'm about to freak out! I'm about to freak out! I'm about to freak out! I am about to lose my...
わかるんだよ
I want to throw up.
脳を入れ替えれば肉体を転々とできるんだもちろん肉体に刻まれも使えるよで操術とこの状況が欲しくてね
He stole... Did it just steal his technique?
遺体の処理を家入将軍
I'm a fucking genius. I'm a fucking genius.
特にこの体が手に入った
I am a
Ah.
fucking
心配しなくても不運はそのうち解くさ
Ah, that's way worse than I
ま
thought.
あ1000年後かな君強すぎるんだよ敵に邪魔なの忘れたのか
There's no way!
出る前その体は誰にこいつ言うたかあの子にそこまで魅力を感じないね条件の術式コピー底なしの重力の人の魂を抑留する縛りが成り立っていたに過ぎない
It's fucking true.
That's actually
Umbrella
crazy.
theory confirmed, bitch. Confirmed.
五条さん
How are they gonna get him out of here?
新しいまた会おう
In the new world. Oh, because he'll get out
He won't get out
until after everything's
Yeah.
changed. He's mechamaru on his ear. What?
いやなんか耳に
He's alive!
時間がない一度で聞き分けろ五条悟が封印された
I don't even know what you can do at this point. Like they literally don't even stand a chance.
I've never felt more vindicated in the history of this channel, maybe even my life. Have I felt more confident in my abilities as a media analyst? To everyone who wonders, oh, why do you watch stuff that you don't like? Why do you spend so much time talking about this? It doesn't even matter. Oh, you're just nitpicking. This is why. Because if you understand how it's made, then you can predict the future. You can see into the unknown. That's why. That's why. This isn't a fucking accident. I'm not lucky. I am an educated man who has studied the craft of storytelling, and this is what you can do. If you hazard to obtain a fraction of my ability.
You watch all of our videos, then you'll know.
So many people doubt me, shit on me, say Carson's fucking annoying. Carson never shuts up about a bunch of useless nonsense. Well, who's laughing now? Fucking umbrella theory confirmed. And it wasn't even a fluke. I called that shit so early and nobody else called it. We don't know actually who it is.
We don't. Although,
But my God,
like,
when we saw his brain.
that thing freaked me. That made me want to throw up. Just something about like the holes and the
Was
I
that a
don't know.
mouth?
Yeah.
Oh my God. What are we gonna do for the thumbnail? I feel like this should be the thumbnail.
Yeah, but you can't put that as the thumbnail. That's
No, you
fucked
can't
up.
put this as the thumbnail. Maybe just his face?
Yeah. Or Gojo looking all crazy because that's not really a spoiler.
Maybe both. I don't know. People, I don't want to spend the whole, but I kind of do want to spend the whole discussion on this. Like, cause I deserve it, you know? Cause I deserve it. Cause I called it.
I know.
I
And
came up with it on my own because I pay attention, because I know these things, because I study the craft, because I care, because I invested my brain power into it, and because of years of building up patterns of storytelling and different themes and different archetypes and different motifs of possession and devouring, etc., etc., all this stuff. was I able to predict this accurately? It's not a fluke. I didn't get lucky. I think I deserve some credit from that. I feel like a bunch of people are going to be calling me annoying, but I feel like genuinely, and I wasn't spoiled. I didn't know this was going to happen.
This is way, honestly, the reveal of this was way more messed up.
It's
than, like, the fact that it's like this, it's not even that he got possessed, but it's like, not like we thought. Not in the way that we thought.
That's the other thing is like, I couldn't have been spoiled because I thought that he ate the thing. And maybe he still did, but no, I
would actually be interested if, like, because we theorized for a long time that it was Kamo, and I would be interested if it was, considering how weird and mad science.
This is more. It pushes. It kicks it further down the road, and I'm more certain that it is because. Because first of all, he's saying it's a technique, so it's not a cursed spirit. It's not a cursed spirit, and it's not like Sukuna. It's not. It's different. It's more science-based, and it's more not science-based, but it's a brain transplant with cursed energy. So
it's like, who would ever think of that? Oh, the one guy who's like super fucked up and known for weird experiments. You know?
Yeah.
Such a. I don't even like looking at this because his face just freaks me out.
What's with the juice?
He's
got the juice. He's got brain juice. I like they didn't make the brain too pink. They made it gray and pinkish gray.
Prison Realm looks freaky. Actually.
Prison Realm looks freakier than I thought. I don't know what I was expecting. I was expecting a sci-fi like zoop, and he would just be in there.
That's what I thought.
I'm a fucking god, okay? I bet this like, it surprised me, but I was more surprised how on point I was, and that it's like, I don't even know how to describe what I just felt. It was like, I literally don't know the words to describe what I felt. It's like you predict like the worst case scenario, and then it's like the world is being painted in front of you, and it's just like, what the fuck is this? Wait, is that? No, and then I like. Yeah. There's a lot of shit dropped right here. At first, I will say, at first I wasn't sure because he was like, no, it can't. Like, I thought it was going to be like, no, it can't be you. Or you're so different than when I last saw you. There's something different about you. Like, what kind of person have you become? But no, then he's like, then it becomes ultimately clear, like, no, who the fuck are you? Yeah.
Yeah, that was freaky. And it's also really sad because it's like we thought about before of, you know, whether or not, with the types of possession that's going on, like, is Geto still alive? And it's like, no, he's just fully dead. His brain got removed and, like, thrown in the trash or whatever. It's just messed up.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, because we were flip-flopping a lot with, like, oh, is he fully possessed? Like a literal body, and he gets body snatched.
Yeah.
But, like, or is it, like, 90% or half and half?
Yeah.
Are
there any moments where Geto is allowed to be in control? Or is he just trapped in there? Or is he, like, not aware of anything? It was very...
And it wasn't... So we were off, actually, on another thing, too. I thought that it was... all the stuff with... Rika and Yuta and Sukuna and Yuji did play a role in, like, establishing this sort of this pattern and this motif of like possession amongst like important characters. So it's intentional, but it's not. It's so interesting that it's not like either of those. That it's not spiritual. It's like a more physical. Yeah. Feels way more final of like a possession, and because we thought that it was potentially a freaking like a pact, like how that allowed him to live in that moment. But no, apparently somebody smuggled out his body or something, because Shoko and Gojo took care of Wait, what the fuck did I just say? Shoko and Gojo took care of Geto's body.
Is that what they said?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's what he said. Now, let's just rewatch the scene real quick.
They didn't have, that's what I thought.
Oh, so
Because they were friends, so he let someone else do it. And then that's how he was able to get snatched.
It must be so fucked up for him to hear those words.
Mm-hmm.
Gojo Satoru. What does he want? What does he want if it is a person and not a fucking... I mean, it could still technically be
I it could.
It could technically still be a cursed spirit.
It could even be Kamo as a cursed spirit.
Well, yes. Yeah, it could. I would think it's more likely... I still feel like there's something to the Heian era shit. Wait, what did he say about about the brain, about his technique? From one body to another.
Mm-hmm.
Technique etched into the body. So from one body to another is interesting wording, because then it's not just Kamo to Geto.
Yeah, well, it could be. You don't have to.
I know, but you were saying
I didn't say that.
No, in previous discussions, you were like, "Oh, I think if it's anyone, it's probably just Kamo. Why can't it just be evil sorcerer guy from 100 years ago?" And that's what I kept saying, was that it seems like there's if it can go into one person, why is the starting thing just one person? Why can't it be more? So the fact that he says from one body to another to me implies a sequence of events, not just from one body to the next body.
I agree.
Based on this. But I'm saying my prediction was right, or is possibly right on that too. I'm saying this leads more credence to what I had already thought, not I'm thinking of this now, like you are. Peasant.
Okay. Has one big brain moment and just thinks that he's...
One? This isn't, you know, oh, what are your big brain moments? What are your
big so many, you can't even...
What are Lindsay's big brain moments? Lindsay's big brain moments are like, oh, and then they're gonna go back to the village before they head out. And then they go back to the village and then they head out. And it's like, oh my god, Lindsay's so smart. How did she predict this sequence of events? I predicted possibly the biggest twist in this whole fucking story. Don't downplay my achievements. I never downplayed your achievements. I've only ever hyped you up. Except for right before I said that when I was downplaying you. So he thinks he's gonna get out in 100 or 1,000 years. Most people would never be able to get out.
No, he said he'll let him out.
Oh,
he didn't say you'll get out. He said, maybe I'll let you out.
Oh, he said he'll let him out?
Yeah.
Oh, I'll release your seal of... Okay. For some reason, my dyslexia kicked in or something where I thought it said, you'll release the seal eventually or something like that. Yeah, I don't know what the hell I was about. I thought he was saying like, oh, in 1,000 years or so, you'll break out because you're that strong that eventually you'll be able to do it. But I mean, eventually he must get out, right?
I mean,
Do you think this is the last we ever?
No, I hope not.
Like, just from a storytelling perspective, I don't think this is the last we ever see of him.
I'd be curious if what this guy wants is to eventually take over Gojo's body, but he needs to get a lot stronger first, and then he can release the seal, kill him, and then steal his body and get his technique.
Probably.
Yeah.
I think that's likely. Yeah.
I mean for a guy that you get to steal people's techniques, who else could you ever possibly want?
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. What if he could get, what if he could, somehow get all Sukuna's fingers in there, and then somehow, fuse Sukuna and Gojo
together,
and then take over? But I guess Sukuna's more of a spiritual figure, so...
Yeah, I don't know. Like, that's what I was thinking. I was like, oh, if he took over Yuji, and Yuji was, like, dead, would Sukuna, like, die? Like, Sukuna would die with him. Sukuna wouldn't still be in his body.
I don't know. But
then
know.
at the same time,
I think it depends on how he dies. I think it depends on... Yeah, because, it does depend on how you die, because... this is all theoretical, and I don't think he's going for that anyway. I don't think he wants anything to do with Sukuna, honestly.
I was just thinking about it.
Yeah. I mean, like, whether you die... If a cursed sorcerer... If a Jujutsu sorcerer is killed without cursed energy, then they turn... Then, weird shit can happen.
Yeah.
They can get... Or is it when they're killed with cursed energy?
No, it's when they're killed without curse.
Yeah, then they have the potential to turn into a curse. Or if, say, Geto dies, what happened to all of his fucking curses? I guess he must have been killed with cursed energy.
Yeah, because Gojo killed him, so I'm sure he would have killed him with cursed energy so he wouldn't come back.
Yeah, so then what happened to all the... Had he used any summons that we had seen before?
I don't think
I think we'd been paying attention and he hasn't used any...
No, but apparently he can use the technique, so he
can use the technique, but he doesn't have he doesn't have all the Pokeballs that Geto had built up over his Pokemon trainer career.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Interesting.
Because Gojo would have exercised them.
Now I still don't know what he wants, really. Because last episode we were talking about him possibly wanting to wear out, like, the cursed spirits that he's working with and then capture them.
Yeah.
But obviously that wasn't the case, and Hanumi's dead, and Mahito and Jogo are still just around.
I mean, they might get beat up through this fight.
Yeah. I'm just curious of, like, what the end goal of this is, and
of Geto, of Umbrella Man.
Yeah, and how it kind of all is gonna fit together.
Yeah, that's why I was bringing up. That's why I got sidetracked. That's why I was bringing up, like, oh, maybe he is actually a curse. There's still potential that he is a cursed spirit because that would influence whether or not he was a cursed spirit or a sorcerer, body snatching. Influences whether or not he is interested in, like, the curse supremacy thing. But I think it's... So, do you think it's... Okay, let me ask you this. Do you think it's more likely that he is working towards the curse supremacy plan? Or that he's just using that in order to capture these super powerful curses? What do you think? Which of those do you think is more likely? Just answer the question, because I have more to say.
I think I think the capturing them is possibly more likely.
I agree. I think that's more likely, evidenced by the fact that he wanted to take Geto specifically over other people who are very powerful because of the ability to take over curses. And now he's working with all these curses. I think it's fairly likely to assume that this is all a front, and working with them is completely a front in order to capture them. I think it's more likely, especially after hearing him explain that he got Geto for this reason.
Yeah.
So, with that in mind, the fact that he would not be working towards that makes me think that he is probably more likely a sorcerer than a cursed spirit. Because a cursed spirit would be, I think if he were a cursed spirit, he would be more likely to go on with the cursed supremacy angle. So I'm going to, based on that logic, I'm going to operate under the assumption that this being that is body swapping between people is a person, is a human, or at least a cursed sorcerer elevated to some crazy thing.
Say if it was Kamo and then he got killed without curse energy, like, because he was just a creepy motherfucker around the town, someone just killed him.
But again, because of what we learned this time, I don't think it's just Kamo. Because of the way, and it might be a subs thing, so, you can't
Well, I mean, if someone can move body to body, you don't have to live a whole lifetime in there. He could get out of Geto right now if you wanted to.
I know, but I'm talking historically. Like, if my body allows me to move from one, like, we're dealing with somebody who is unaffected by age, and we're going to assume that they're only 100 years old. The other person who is unaffected by age is 1,000 years old. So that gives us some perspective. The other person who has persisted through the ages is completely immortal and is now was a cursed sorcerer and is now some kind of
Tree.
the first one was talking about was Tengen. This one is Sukuna, who was a sorcerer. Yeah. So all of this, I like both of those things. I think the logic indicates that Kamo was not the first, and that whoever was taking over Kamo was also a sorcerer, a person.
That could be interesting.
I think that again, it could just be. Let me see where he says. I can pass from one body to another. So the fact, like, okay, let's break down the grammar here. From one body. Would you refer to your body as from one body, like as one body to another? One body implies it's one of many. So like from one body, like I can hop from my body. I developed the way I would say it if this was my first time.
I don't think this is the first time even. I know.
You're just not listening to me. Like what do you think then?
I'm thinking that it's Kamo and that he's been in a bunch of bodies since then.
Oh,
is what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
I'm saying I'm not saying Kamo went straight here. I'm saying Kamo died at like 100 years ago, and then since then has been body hopping around an unlimited amount of times because he doesn't have to stay in a body for any length of time. He could switch it up multiple times a year if he wanted.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Sorry, I was misinterpreting what you were saying. Wait, we have a picture of Kamo. Wait, if this is how it. Do you want to go back and look at Kamo? Because if this is how it works,
does he have a?
Then he would have the scar.
Yeah, unless he wasn't possessed and it was just him.
Unless he wasn't possessed. Mm-hmm. Let's check it out.
I feel like you should just have that one episode bookmarked.
Yeah, I should. Yeah, because that's a big thing too. We learned exactly how it's done. So we have the answer like right in front of us if we just go look. I'm kind of scared to look now that I put it like that. Oh yeah, here.
Mm.
のはじめ呪霊の子をはらむ得意体質の娘がいた覚えのない解任呪霊の子をはらむの娘がいた身に覚え
What?
This is explaining. Wait, hang on. This is explaining Kamo's backstory. And
this is explaining the cursed wombs,
which were created by Kamo.
Yeah.
And it just said that she was able to bear a cursed spirit's child.
The first one, she just like was pregnant with a curse, and then Kamo like grabbed her and like.
But if Kamo is possessed by possibly a cursed spirit, then it's fucking. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but they wouldn't put that together because they wouldn't know that Kamo was a cursed spirit.
I'm saying we're arguing about whether Kamo is a cursed spirit or not on the inside, or whether he is the first one or one of along the lines. And we just going back to his backstory, and this woman that he was harvesting death paintings from was able to bear cursed spirits' children. Mm-hmm. And it's possible that Kamo is a cursed spirit. That's all I'm saying. I'm not drawing a conclusion. I'm just. At a temple. They specifically do not show us his forehead. They specifically do not show us his forehead. In the two shots that we have of this fucking guy,
the umbrella is covering
the
his
umbrella
forehead.
Comes in clutch for the theory. The two only pictures we have of this creepy fucking guy, his forehead is not visible. Now, I don't know about you, but I think they're hiding something. I think that the reason they have the umbrella is to hide his fucking forehead scar. And if we ever see a picture of him, he will have a big fucking railroad track right across his forehead. Do you disagree? Do you concur?
I think
I gotta get a lab coat is what I need.
I think that's a good theory, but I still am on my original thoughts.
So normally what I would do is I would say, maybe I'm wrong. I'm not fucking wrong. I am not wrong.
Okay, maybe I'm wrong.
You're fucking wrong. I'm not wrong. Why would they hide his forehead?
I don't know. Make him look mysterious. Look at him.
You're crazy. You just don't want to admit that I'm right. They're hiding his forehead.
I'm saying you could be. I'm saying that like it feels more like.
So why do you disagree?
I mean I'm allowed to just have a different interpretation.
Okay, let me rephrase that. Explain why you think what you think, because we're making a YouTube video about what you think.
I mean, I feel like I've already said it a bunch. I feel like it, like I just feel like the personality of this guy, it wasn't like, oh, there was a guy before him that was like similar. It's not like there's been other people in history that are like on the level. It's like this guy was like so fucked up, came out of nowhere, was just like this crazy dude doing all kinds of horrific experiments. And to me, it seems like this guy was just super messed up and he like researched all these things and like did all these crazy experiments and then in the end possibly even just killed himself like in a non-curse way so that he could try and like get reborn or like figured out, or maybe he's not a curse and he figured out a way based on all of the like cursed wombs and like all of this experimentation that he was doing with like humans and curses to like make himself into the brain thing that then he hopped on later down. And it also to me seems like something that was more like recent than 1,000 years ago may be more in line with something like cutting off someone's skull at like a more
like
modern
medical
procedure to be able to do that and not, you know what I mean, with any type of knowledge about how, like, think about 1,000 years ago, did people necessarily even know, like were people thinking about that and like what that means?
I think they were.
I mean, I guess, but like I guess I'm saying of like this is like a very,
it's a medical procedure, yeah, with sutures and stuff. Yeah. I can see that. As far as your argument, I think that that's the most credible thing, because there are other people from history like on this level of evil and shit. There's literally Sukuna, who is that old. There's Tengen, who is super mysterious and ambiguous, morally speaking. I don't like, all the stuff that you said, it does not conflict with what I said. Like, so that's all I'm saying is like, I think they're hiding, like, I don't see why they would hide his forehead. I don't see what reason they would have to, like, creep, like...
That's fair. That's
do you see what I'm saying? He's dressed the same way.
Yeah.
We see 2 pictures of him. They're hiding his forehead. Mm-hmm. And I think that there's 2 angles to, like, the medical procedure thing. I think that somebody who has lived for 1,000 years is the person to do that procedure.
Yeah.
Whether they came up with it when they had Kamo's body... doesn't make sense, because they would have need to got to that point. So I think that the kind of person who would, like, you know,
that's fair too. And I do think that like the hiding the forehead,
like, why would they do it?
I know,
you know?
yeah.
Like, what reason would they have to hide the forehead here? There's no reason. There's no other reason to do it. I will also add that his mustache looks an awful lot like the little mouth on Geto's brain. I just want to point that out. Maybe that bumps up the theory an extra like 1 or 2%.
What if they had the mustache on the brain?
That'd be a dead giveaway. I bet Gege drew the mustache on the brain. I was like, That's kind of dumb. And then drew it as teeth. Oh my god. Oh, and also, it's not really that big of a deal because like the whole Gojo theory that I had in that first discussion was more of just an analysis of his character in hindsight. Like once that was us sort of mostly me, but it was us like sort of rationalizing his character that he is like a more gray person who's kind of an anti-hero. Yeah. That's just a fact of his character that was established before. But you could see that as also that being proven this time with how he was running through all those people, to be fair. I want to go back and include the footage of me coming up with the theory in this, but I also don't want to take too long editing this reaction.
Yeah.
Holy shit. I kind of want to recap. So, my theory up to this point, judging by the way that not Geto talked about the technique, made me think that it was hopping from multiple people, not just, whoever, like Kamo here. Mm-hmm. The fact that there is probably a forehead scar underneath this shadow, this ominous, perfectly placed shadow, makes me think that they are older than 100 years. And if they're older than 100 years, they could be any age. That makes me think that they're from the Heian era. Because now we're learning more about it. And there's more allusion to it. I think that they're setting up for a reveal that whoever is taking control of Geto is from the Heian era. It is confirmed that it is not Sukuna. It is not some sort of like splinter form of Sukuna. Like one of the fingers, took control of Geto, and now there's a Horcrux acting on its own, separate, consciously from the rest of them. That was one splinter theory that I had. That is not the case, because the method of possession here works completely different. So it is probably a person is older than the Meiji period, which means that they could be as old as they want to be. There are a bunch of people from the Heian era that we're learning about. Like a bunch of the other named sorcerers that like are related to a bunch of people that are being, thrown out there. There's like 2 or 3 or 4 fucking names being thrown out of people who are from the Heian era, ancient sorcerers, the golden era of jujutsu sorcery, as it is called. Whoever is controlling these people, Kamo, Geto, is probably from the Heian era. It could be one of the people we've been named, or it could be someone completely different. There's no way to know because we know so little, and the information we have about people from that time, other than Tengen-sama, is so vague. Even Tengen-sama is so vague. Yeah. Even Sukuna is so vague. These 2 people who we knew more than any the other names that we have. And that's kind of it. And the fact that they are probably. And the fact that they got this power of Geto's power to try and take control of cursed spirits makes me think that it is not a cursed spirit from ancient times, but a person from ancient times. Or some other thing. Maybe they're going to go with like some kind of like mountain god or some weird shit like that. I doubt it, with like the very humanist brain swapping. Again, like the medical aspect of it. I doubt it's not a cursed spirit, but like maybe some sort of like Shinto spirit or like religious figure.
And
if
it is a cursed spirit, then I would think that it would be
one
that was a jujutsu sorcerer who got killed because
not one of these apex ones who's like a fear.
Because they specifically talked about that, and we haven't actually seen that.
Yeah.
So that's why I think possibly because in the first season they talk a lot about Kamo, and then they talk about these death paintings, which were specifically gotten, I believe, at Geto's request, which would make sense if it was the same dude who made them that wanted to go and get them. That's like another huge thing, because it's like they weren't that powerful. They got defeated by some students, at least the other 2.
Yeah.
So it's like there was a reason for like thinking about them and getting them.
Yeah. He knew that they were out there somewhere.
Yeah, and the other thing was shit.
About him being cursed spirit, about him being a person, older person, body swapping.
I can't remember
Being
anymore.
being a cursed spirit, working with the other cursed spirits, being a person who was turned into a cursed spirit.
I think it's just that the fact that we learned about that but haven't seen it yet. I feel like is the biggest indicator to me, and it just kind of fits, I guess, for me anyway.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. It makes too much sense. It makes too much sense.
Mm-hmm. And as we've seen, like, if you turn into, like, Rika, who was just a child and not a curse user, but was turned into a cursed spirit, still maintained a lot of core aspects of her personality, of like the person that she really cared about, that was like very prominent for her, even though she was like this horrific curse that could like kill people and like do all this stuff. So you know, if someone like Kamo, who had like very specific goals and like very specific like desires, died, then he would potentially keep that after as well, you know.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I think that's it. Probably a person, not a spirit, probably from the Heian era. Body swapping for 1,000 years, is now Geto, trying to play everybody. But for what? Why? Like just because they're power hungry? Just because they want to live forever and become a god? What's the end game? You know what I mean? I mean, getting body swapping Gojo, I think makes perfect sense to me. After assimilating all these other cursed spirits that they can. Which
is why, actually, I think it is more likely that it would be just like starting at Kamo and not going back 1,000 years, because listen, because I think in the last 1,000 years there could have been times that to be able to swap into people who were really powerful, but in the last 100 years Gojo is kind of like the pinnacle of everything. So it would make sense if for like 100 years he's like going around and then he like sees Gojo and is like, yes, this is what I've been wanting. This, and because obviously the Kamo, we don't know if the Kamo clan existed in the way that it is now. We don't know if the Gojo clan in the way that it is now existed 1,000 years ago, but we do know that they existed 100 years ago, and that Kamo, the dude, would have known about the Gojo clan and possibly had that in mind the entire time and been waiting for like the perfect like specimen of that.
There's a way we can confirm this idea, and it's by going back to Hidden Inventory arc and looking at when Toji was stalking Gojo as a child in episode 3. Because he says something about he's the first kid in blah 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 many years, and they mentioned it a few times, but I think they mention a number like in the last 2 centuries, meaning it would be previous to the Meiji period that the Gojo thing would exist, which would negate that theory.
Well,
let's just hear what he says. Before this, it was probably in episode 2. When he was talking to this guy. Or no, I think it was when he was talking on the phone. In several centuries, so more than 200 years. 300 or more years. in several centuries, which negates that being like the determining factor. Because you're saying, well, you were basically saying like, oh, he could account for this popping up, knowing the abilities of the Gojo clan and being like, okay, eventually one of them will be born with this because within the like if they were 100 years ago.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, what I was saying was that we don't even know if, like, I guess what I was saying is if this has happened before, then why didn't Umbrella Man
Maybe they did. Maybe they tried. Maybe. Oh, speaking of Naruto parallels, maybe it was like Orochimaru with fucking Sharingan. Maybe it was like, oh, I wanted to get Itachi's, but he was too strong, and I waited till he was too old. And then Sasuke came along, and I did the same thing on accident through a bunch of wacky hijinks over the course of like 7 years. I
missed
fucked up.
my chance.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So I think there's a lot that whole gap of like 900 years we have no idea. So like I think it's like there's probably, I think based on what Toji's saying here and based on the information that we've got about the Gojo clan previously, Gojo is one of maybe like one of 3 people, maybe 2 other people ever have been as powerful as him. Probably not even that. Maybe they had both abilities but couldn't use reverse energy or something. Like, or maybe they were able to use reverse energy but didn't have the 6 eyes. But he says like the first person born with 2. Which, by the way, I always wondered since he said this, like with the 6 eyes and the infinity technique. I've always wondered if like the Gojo clan has a 3rd one that we just didn't know and that no one that he wasn't born with. Like, what if there's like a 3rd ability that he wasn't born with? But that's just random headcanon speculation.
The purple is the random one that no one knew about. He even said that as he was doing it.
But it was a manipulation of the infinity technique. It wasn't an innate technique like the 6 eyes. That's like his Sharingan, like a Kekkei Genkai type thing that he's born with. Because Toji here is saying there's like 2 innate techniques. There's like the infinity technique that allows the control of space and space, infinity space, and the 6 eyes, which allow you to analyze everybody else's shit and like see through deception and stuff like that. And only with, it's kind of like the Chidori in Naruto, where like you can't use the Chidori properly. Like you can manifest it and make your hand out of lightning, but like you can't do anything with it because you need the eyes in order to perceive things fast enough in order to actually use it properly. And I feel like that's the benefit. That's why he's able to use the reverse curse energy. So because he's able to like see things and like comprehend things a lot better. So I don't know that about the 3rd thing. That was just a random thought that I had when they were like, "Oh, he's the first to be born with these 2 abilities." I'm like, "Oh, well, are there like 5 abilities or what?" But I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But why we're bringing this up is because I don't think that it lends credence to that idea. So you still think that Kamo?
I still think that.
You still think Kamo's the start? Why do you think that?
To me it just really fits and it feels right. And
I think you're just I think you're being a contrarian. I think you got nothing to back it up. Every time you say anything, I give you piles of evidence.
And I'm saying that it's like that to me, like that's.
I know.
That's also likely.
I just want you to justify it just for the sake of a conversation. Like I just want you.
I know. I just feel like I already have.
I don't feel like you have. That's why I'm asking. You haven't. You just keep saying things, and then I keep debunking what you say. And then I ask you, okay, do you still think that? And you're like, yes. And I'm like, okay, why? And then you're like, well, I said why. And I'm like, I just gave you proof of why.
It's just, I just have a feeling. And I just, like, to me, like, but at the same, I'm acknowledging that your stuff
I don't care about the acknowledgement.
Really
I just want to talk to you about it. Like, I just want to know, like, what, like, talk. Why do you, what about it makes you think that? Like, what about how he talks or how he acts or what he's done or what anyone else has said or how the power system works in general or like that's all I'm asking.
I guess I just feel like, I don't know, to me that like, Kamo is like such a person like of his own. Like they mention him and he like did all this stuff and he's like well known, and it's like, to me it seems like he is like a guy that will be remembered for a really long time, and like he is like a specific person that was like crafted as a result of his environment and what was available to him, and like the person that he was as just a guy who was born into a certain world and like lived his life and like did all this crazy shit, and was determined enough to possibly persist on and become a curse, or do all this stuff. To me, I feel like the way, just the sense that I get from like the way that they described him makes him seem very unique, and makes it seem like he was doing all of this stuff because it was like his first time around, basically. I guess I feel like someone who had been alive for 1,000 years might not have just randomly decided to go absolutely crazy and make a huge name for himself this like one time and then like not again until now. You know what I'm saying? I guess I just feel like the way that he's described to me makes him feel like very, very like authentic as like as an individual person or character, you know?
Yeah. Okay, I can see that.
Like, he doesn't feel like a god, I guess is what I'm saying. Of like things like Sukuna or Tengen are like these like very like immortal, like long lasting, like when you're alive for that long, there's like a certain level of enlightenment, and I feel like Kamo felt like a child figuring shit out and like eager to learn and discover and do as much as possible, because he only believed that he had a certain amount of time, so he was like doing all these crazy experiments and as much as possible, and like drawing all this horrible negative attention to himself and his clan, but he didn't care because he was so hungry for the knowledge of it all. So that's to me it seems like that was just the start, and then he like got more than he thought he would, and now is like enacting a larger scale plan.
I think that all of that perfectly applies to my theory just as much as yours, and that's why, and because the evidence is pointing in my direction, that's why I believe in my thing. I think that everything you said about like him being hungry for knowledge and him being like a frantic, curious cat, you know, scratching at the walls of insanity for you know, whether he's doing it for 100 years or 1,000 years, I don't think makes a much of a difference. And I think the fact that we don't know anything past 100 years, I think points more to a plot convenience and a setup for a greater reveal. That's what it feels like to me. When I look at all of that, I don't think like, oh, well, why haven't we gotten, you know, why hasn't the exploits of this person, why do we, if he was 1,000 years old, we hear about him at 1,000 years, nothing for 900 years, and then something at 100 years, and then from then to now. My explanation as to why that's happening is because when would we go into all of this? Like, at what point in the story would we go into all of this crazy history? Like, the story's been keeping it secret for a reason and obfuscating the guy's forehead, telling the stories in a specific way at very specific times, distant enough so that you wouldn't put them together. And I think that it's not because nothing happened in those 900 years. It's because we're only being shown the amount necessary to set us up for a greater reveal past this. And all of the things about his personality, about how he's like such a character, I think that applies just as equally. And I think that I think it applies just equally, if not more, to the idea that he's older than Kamo as we see him in history, because it just also feels really shallow for it to be a body swapping person who could have been alive anyway. Like, that's something we talk about a lot, of like Orochimaru and all these like lich vampire people who are like trying to become immortal and then just like die when they're 40 years old, completely wasting their potential on nonsense. So I think that I also have faith in the series that it's not going to do that, and I think it's setting it up specifically to rebuke that expectation. I think that is a trope that they're playing with, and I think that that's why they set up Kamo like how you describe him, as like a very Mamoru Uchiha Orochimaru guy that was not too distant a memory. Somebody's great grandfather who was around somewhat recently and who set the tone for the next 100 years and is still, you know, whispered about in fear to this day. I think that is set up in that way to as a red herring, as like a look at this guy. He's like this evil madman. If you want to make theories about how this guy's the big evil bad guy. But they just pulled the same switcheroo with Geto this episode, where they're like, oh, you thought that this guy who was not too distant a memory, who was from the previous generation, was actually being controlled, and he's being controlled the whole time. This whole time you thought that there was going to be this crazy reunion, and there was going to be this like reckoning of emotion of this person who lived in a similar world as the one we do now. Turns out he's being controlled. I think that exact same thing is going to happen when we learn more about Kamo, possibly. I think that it's maybe going to be like, oh, what about Noritoshi Kamo? He was all this fucking, you know, crazy blood lich vampire guy, and he like did all these evil experiments, and he's like remembered as like the fall guy for all of this stuff, but that's just the skin he was wearing at that time. And I think it's a similar echo to what has happened and what led us to the umbrella theory in the beginning, which was the repetition of these possessions, of these motifs of possession and rebirth and stuff like that, and devouring things and becoming you know, possessed or you know, a greater, you know, you see what I'm saying? Or like Gojo dying and then getting this extra power. Yuji dying, having a pact, and then being able to be brought back to life. All of these little nuggets, and these, again, it's not like direct things that are the exact same, but they all sort of line up and echo and then build up to this thing that makes it feel like it's completely out of nowhere, and you have no idea why or how anyone thought of that things would go this way, but it feels right, and it feels like it was planned from the start, because it was, and it was seeded indirectly through all of these different things. I think that exact thing is at play when we think of how Kamo as an ancient figure and a big bad evil guy villain is. I think that it fits perfectly, and the more I talk about it, the more convinced I am that I'm right. Leave a like and subscribe. Check out our One Piece channel. See you next week. I'm Carson.
I'm Lindsay.
Bye-bye.